what drew you to Houston? What made you, think this is, a good spot?
The right choice for Houston. Well, growing up, Houston's kind of been my dream school, right? And growing up in Katy, right down the road. Like I said this when I first got here. Most of my family actually went to the University of Houston. I was the only one that didn't. I had a good thing last year. We had a great season last year where I was at. There really wasn't a lot that was going to pull me somewhere, but just Houston was a place that I've always wanted to work, and I love the city, and I've always loved the school. It's a secret that I've always wanted to try to get back, and when the opportunity came, I had to jump on it.
How have you seen the buy-in from the guys since you've arrived? I know it's been a while, you were spring and all that as well, but now that you're kind of really in the home stretch, getting ready, it feels like all that gelling really in a good spot?
Yeah, it feels good. We brought a lot of new guys in here, so what we had in the spring is a little bit different than what we have now. We've created a lot of depth. The guys have really taken to the coaching, some of the different things we're doing, and how I am as a coach, right? That's usually the big thing, is guys kind of going towards there, and it's been good so far. The guys have really attacked it. The older guys have kind of taken the leadership of the room to help it kind of progress, but a lot of times the older guys are the biggest ones that have to put their guard down a little bit, and I think it's been good so far. I've been really pleased with it.
Can you help us out any on in terms of just with the new faces and this and that, maybe a little bit on who's competing where on the line? Some of your guys, I'm not trying to give
yeah,
too
the
much, just
well,
where guys are fighting at.
Yeah, the depth chart's never set, obviously, right? And we've got a bunch of guys with a lot of experience. The older guys, you try to get them to play their best their senior year, and we've got quite a bit of seniors on the line. So I always kind of tell them, don't get comfortable where you're at, right? So the guys that we brought in are pushing those guys to be better versions of themselves. That way they can play their best their senior year. In terms of competition battles, there's a few set in stone already. Pat Paul's where he's at, and Jack there, but we're still trying to find the right rotation and the right guys. I've been places where I've played 10 linemen. I've been places where I've played 5. So it's just kind of, as we grow as a team, as we grow as an O-line, like I said, a lot of the guys just got here in the beginning of June. So just still trying to see these guys mesh together to see where they fit in. But we're going to need more than 5. Always remember that.
How important is keeping penalties down to sort of building what you want to do? You guys weren't penalized much last year.
Yeah, penalties are big. That's been the focus going since I've gotten here. Discipline and penalties. Penalties are something that'll get you beat down the road. So the main focus, especially on the O-line, you look at pre-snap and post-snap penalties. A lot of the pre-snap stuff is just having your mind right and being focused on the play, and then a lot of the post-snap stuff could be technique, could be fatigue, so things that we work every day in drills and try to push them when they're tired and they have to do the right things, and don't get holding calls, keep your hands inside and all that stuff. So
what's that happy medium with not to single out, Pat Paul's had a few where he's got that intensity, and you don't want him to dial it back any, but what can you do to help him? Maybe is there anything other than hey?
Yeah, one of my old coaches used to say it's easier to say whoa than go. So you don't want to slow him down. Right. You want to just give them the tools and pushing them in practice. And right now is a great opportunity at camp. When you push them when they're tired, they're always going to revert back to their technique. So I'm hoping the things that we're doing and the way we're stressing these guys and the way we're stressing technique will be able to translate when he's tired. And that's usually when most of your holding calls happen.
You touched on this a minute ago, but just a few years ago it was hard to get. They didn't have enough offensive line to run a lot of things, much less build 2 units. Do you have a lot of guys now that are able to cross train a lot, or are you comfortable numbers-wise where you have? If you're going to play tackles, you're going to play tackles.
Yeah, you got to be versatile, right? So when we teach things, we try to get everybody to teach the whole concept of the play so they can play multiple positions. Head coaches, they always like to put a number on how many O-linemen. O-line coaches, we want no numbers. I want to recruit any big guy that wants to play O-line that wants to come. So just kind of in terms of the portal and different things in recruiting, and we're trying to beef up our numbers. We're at a good number right now, I think, going into the season, but moving forward, we want to continue to keep beefing up the room because O-line isn't about individuals. We got to be strength in numbers.
How do you know about coaching, an offensive line, especially veterans like Jack Freeman at center, when there's sort of a battle with quarterback going on behind them when they're sort of used to a guy like Clayton Jr. sort of the mainstay going on?
Yeah, the good thing about having your center back is he can help the quarterback, and in terms of the operation, setting the tone, getting guys going, IDing things. and pulling kind of the rest of the group together. So I think an experienced center will help that with a new quarterback. There's things that are going to be different. Things maybe that Toon said in the huddle that the new guys may not say. But he's kind of bridging that gap. So anytime you got an experienced center, it helps your offense, especially when you have a new quarterback back there.
You've seen Jack develop as a leader, and how important is that to have your center be a leader?
Well, when your older guys are the leaders on your team, you're probably pretty good. And right now, with the combination of Pat and Jack, the older guys that have been around, their leadership's been good. Especially with new guys coming in the room. We've signed a bunch of guys in June, and you kind of rely and kind of lean back on those older guys that can take control of it, and they've lived up to it.
Coach, you said you always wanted to work here. So how has it been? Is it what you expected? Is it what's the biggest challenge now for you?
The biggest challenge is the traffic, man. I tell you what, my last 3 jobs, I've lived in huge cities, and coming back home and being from Katy, well, guess where I got to live? I got to live in Katy, so I got to make that commute every day. So if I get up early, I can make it. That's been the hardest, but no, it's been awesome. My family, my in-laws, my family's taken care of. When you're a coach, you're at work all day, and one of the things that's cool is your family's taken care of because they're with family. So that was probably the best thing about moving back here.
In the spring, Dana had mentioned that at some point, you, Michael, as far as kind of a together, how you want to handle play calling and so or the ideas bounce out. How's that? Has that been a good trial run maybe here?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Coach Holgerson, he's in there. So we're meeting together. All of us are meeting. We're coming up with the plans. We're talking through things. I think it's been a good mix, because my background is run game and things like that, and obviously Coach Holg and Coach Burchett have been together for a long time. So trying to blend some things and work together where we can mesh this offense together to get a little bit more of what we want. It's been good.
What do you see from some of those backs? Some of the BC and Parker looks like a different dude than, of course, last year. But
yeah, I'll be honest, we got some good backs. Last year where I was at, we had one guy that could do it. Here, I think we got 2, 3, 4 guys. So it's been fun to see them compete out there because a lot of them have been getting different reps with different groups, right? Go with the first group, second group, third group, and seeing those guys kind of play. It's been good, especially the other day we tackled for the first time. So you kind of see where guys show up, who wants to run behind their pads, and we were really pleased with all of them. So I think collectively, all of them have showed some really good things.
One of the guys said that you bring a lot of energy every day. You're like always on. Is that how important is that? Is that always how you've been? Is that just sort of?
Yeah, that's just the way I am. I don't like to sit back there. I told them today I'm in the trenches with them. So when you watch practice, I should be drenched in sweat, all like these guys. Just to be honest, when I was a player, that's kind of how I responded. I wanted my coach to kind of be there with me in the trenches, and there's a certain way I like to get things done, and I think there's non-negotiables in terms of practicing and having energy. I think that's a non-negotiable. So it's hard to be an O-line coach where you got to coach 15 guys and you ain't got no juice. So that's just how I've always been.
In terms of the run game, Dana said that he was sort of learning new stuff from you every day. What do you think?
Oh, don't let him lie. He's been coaching longer than I've been alive. So no, there's nothing. We're doing the same stuff. Everything's the same, right? Everyone's going to run some kind of zone gap scheme. We're all doing the same. My job was to kind of get everything honed in the right way where we're teaching techniques and we're being able to play fast and do multiple things. So it's been good. I think the guys have taken to it. I think our scheme is good. I think we're building a pretty good offense, but we still got a long way to go fall camp.
He's had a lot of lines about you. Starting to correct now, as media day, things that you were as O-line as it comes, or is it O-line or Houston O-line?
Yeah, I think he said something like, because I went to Katy High School, and Katy High School was big. We had a bunch of big linemen, so we were always known for having linemen. I played at Katy High. I played O-line at college. I've coached O-line. I think that's what he meant. I don't really know what he meant. Maybe because I'm a heavy set, because like they always say, you never want to trust a skinny cook. Maybe it's the same thing. You want to trust not a skinny O-line coach. So maybe that's what he is. I don't know. Maybe he thinks I have no idea. Yeah.
The way that the college games play today, is it important to have a quarterback that can run a little too? Is that
it's you always gotta structure the offense to your strengths, right? And if you got a guy that you think can run, it's always good to have a guy that can move. And then if you got a guy that can't run, you got to find different ways to be successful, whether it's throwing it or running it, things like that. Personally, as an O-line coach, I speak probably for all O-line coaches. better if you got a guy that can run, right? He can get you out of a lot of issues, okay? You're sitting back there and protecting for an hour, you know, you might as well let him roll around a little bit. So, no, that's always been a good thing. Yeah.
What year did you get out of Katy?
I graduated in 05, so 04 is my last season. I played for 2 head coaches, Mike Johnson and Gary Joseph. Yep, and now, he's my father-in-law.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So,
Awesome.
kind of married into it, right? So whenever I get to go to Katy as much as I want, there's no recruiting violations because, you know, my family is there, you know. I'm playing.
I don't know if you did. Where does Shamar fit in? One of the guys.
Yeah, so Shamore's a guy that we brought in. He was at FIU last year. You know, his big deal for us was he played a lot of reps. He was a seasoned guy. You know, we were looking for experience, especially with the guys that we were bringing in. You know, he's had a great camp so far. He's fitting in. He's getting in reps. He's getting in 1 reps. He's getting in 2 reps. So he's been growing too. So we're hoping he can contribute this year too.
Did you look at a lot of film of the guys that were back sort of to get to know, or do you kind of want to base it on what you see?
Yeah, you know, I watched a little bit of them. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't watch any film, but I mean, not as much as you'd think. You know, I kind of wanted to fresh start them and, you know, see what they can do. That was when I was big when I got here. I just want to see what they can do, you know, physically and, you know, mentally and personality-wise. And then naturally, as you watch film from last year, you see them and you see different things show up. So that's kind of the way I judge it when I go somewhere new.
Thanks, Coach.
That's good. All right, boys. Appreciate y'all.